ਗੱਲ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਭਾਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੇ ਗੱਲ ਛੱਡਤੀ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹੋ ਉਦਾਂ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ and I'm like well ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ like once the sale's done ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਇੱਧਰ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਧਰ ਚੱਲ ਜਾਣਾ you're gonna run the business
trucking I know ਸਾਡੀ community trucking ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ truck yards this is a hot topic ਬਹੁਤ ਲੋਕੀ ਕਾਲ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਆ ਭਾਜੀ ਟਰੱਕ ਯਾਰਡ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੈਂਟ ਆਵਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ
ਮੈਨੂੰ 5-6 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਇਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਆਉਂਦੀ
ਹਾਂ
ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹੀ ਸਲਾਹ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਲੈਂਡ ਹੈਗੀ raw land available it's in the zoning I will take you through permitting right you get it permitted and then you're done ਨਹੀਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਕੋਈ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬਣੀ ਹੋ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੈ right ਇਦਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਉਹਨੇ ਅਗਲੇ 4-5 ਸਾਲ ਇਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਹੀ ਜਾਣੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਸਾਂ ਵਧੀ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੁਣ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ 3-4 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਲੈ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਇਟ ਸ਼ੁੱਡ ਬੀ ਰੈਡੀ ਬਾਈ
aggressive investors ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀਤਾ ਕੰਮ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉਹ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਉਹ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਅਗਲੇ 2-5 ਸਾਲ ਦਾ right they're always thinking ahead
so as the inflation is going down the rates will come down but if it keeps rising then stay high
what's up you guys ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੈਠੇ commercial realtor ਕਹਿੰਦੇ commercial realtor ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ
yeah that's
or commercial agent commercial broker commercial broker
ਤੁਸੀਂ commercial ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀਆਂ ਵੇਚਦੇ ਆ
ਤੁਸੀਂ commercial ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀਆਂ ਵੇਚਦੇ ਆ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੈਠੇ ਗੁਰਿਕਪਾਲ ਸਿੰਘ a.k.a. ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨੂੰ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਡੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਮਰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫੋਕਸ ਕਰਦਾ ਆ ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਮੈਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਇੰਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਆ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੋ thank you for taking your time to come on the show bro
no thank you for having me appreciate it
yeah absolutely so ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਕਮਰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀਜ਼ ਬਾਰੇ ਰਾਈਟ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹ ਦੋ ਕਾਫੀ ਜਾਣੇ ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀਜ਼ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਆ ਰਾਈਟ ਪਰ ਹੁਣ ਕਮਰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ what's going on
the rates are still high and people are still overvaluing their properties so it's hard to meet people in the middle right ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ seller they want the top dollar
okay
right the buyer's like well I can't even get funding for this right because the numbers don't match
okay
right so it's a struggle from both ends on somebody wants a higher value for their property versus somebody who's like well I want to give you that but I can't because the lender's not going to underwrite it
okay
right because they're all DSCR loans right debt service coverage ratio
so what is ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ DSCR loan ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ
so it's a debt coverage ratio or it's called DCR or DSCR
ਹਾਂਜੀ
right so you can use both of them basically if there's an income producing property right when you get mortgage on it the ratio from your mortgage versus the value that you're getting
ਹਾਂਜੀ
see so that ratio has to be for some lenders at 1.25 or higher
okay
because the lender is willing to give you the money as long as they know the property is going to cash flow yeah plus you're going to make money
okay
right so if that ratio falls under that then the lender's like well this is not really working right so then that means either the value has to come down for them to underwrite it
okay
or you have to put more money down
so it basically has to fall within those ratios okay
and then some lenders are different some are higher some are at 1.3 1.4 and some are lower like some credit unions might go to like 1.2 and then 1.15 but not recently they've done it in the past
okay Guru commercial ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ just like residential commercial ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ commercial properties ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ right
oh yeah for sure
is there one ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ focus ਕਰਦੇ ਆ like
gas stations
so ਜੇ gas station ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ ਉਹਦੇ ਬੰਦਾ ਬੈਠਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ so let's talk about gas stations Guru ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਕਈ ਟਾਈਮ ਕਾਲਾਂ ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ right obviously ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਭੇਜਦੇ clients ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਪਰ ਹੁਣ ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਕਲਾਇੰਟ ਆ ਕੋਈ ਜਾਣਾ ਦੇਖਦਾ ਆ ਉਹ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਯਾਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਕਮਰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀ ਲੈਣੀ ਆ ਰਾਈਟ ਮੋਸਟ ਕਾਲਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਲੋਕੀ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ
ਰਾਈਟ
ਸੋ ਜੇ ਹੁਣ ਕੋਈ ਫਰਸਟ ਟਾਈਮ ਕਮਰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀ ਬਾਇਰ ਆ ਰਾਈਟ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਟੈਪਸ ਕੀ ਆ ਜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਲਾਈਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੈਣਾ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੈਣਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਐਡਵਾਈਸ ਦੇ ਸਕਦੇ
Oh, well, for the station or for any business that you want to acquire, right? So the good thing is you can get through an SBA loan.
Okay.
Small business administration loan.
Yeah.
The benefit of this is your entry cost is very low. It's like as low as 10%.
Okay.
Or sometimes they like to do 15 or 20, but those are separate matters. So versus if you get a conventional loan, they're anywhere from 20 to 30% down.
Yeah.
So right, so if it's a $2 million property, you're looking at $200,000 difference for your down payment. है ना? फिर जिधर को 2 लाख हैगा या right after closing costs and everything, you're probably 230, 240.
Okay.
Right.
So फर्क की है SBA loan ते conventional loan ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ?
SBA loans are backed by the government.
Okay.
Right, they're government-backed loans. So basically, the government's saying if this guy doesn't pay, we will pay.
That's
right?
good.
Which is good. So so more benefit to all parties involved.
Yeah.
Right, because the step-in ratio is lower, but the rates are a little higher.
Okay.
Than conventional.
Okay.
They also charge a guarantee fee.
Okay.
On top of with the SBA guarantee fee. So based on your loan amount is the fee. The higher the loan amount, the higher the fee, which is part of your closing cost.
ठीक है.
Right, but the benefit is the low barrier because a lot of people don't realize that you don't need 20, 30% down.
Yeah.
You can only do it for 10 to 15%.
So basically ਜਿਹੜੀ confusion ਹੈ most ਲੋਕੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ most ਲੋਕੀ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ 20% ਡਾਊਨ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੈਣ ਲਈ 2 ਮਿਲੀਅਨ ਦਾ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਆ $4 ਲੱਖ ਡਾਊਨ ਹੈ ਰਾਈਟ ਪਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ SBA ਲੋਨ ਲਓ maybe 10% down te ho sakda.
It's 10 to 15.
Okay, depends.
It depends kyunki they're also going to look at the DSCR. Regardless, right? That's the ratios they're going to look at.
Bilkul.
They're also underwriting the property, but they're also underwriting the buyer.
Yeah.
Right? So they both go hand in hand.
So ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬੈਂਕ ਹੈ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਅੰਡਰਰਾਈਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਬਾਇਰ ਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ?
Basically, like when you're saying, but ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰ ਲੈਣ ਲੱਗੇ, right? So you have no history of owning a gas
no
station,
experience,
right?
Yeah.
They want to know if you had any service experience in the service industry.
Like gas station industry?
Just gas station, or just like if you work in a restaurant or something, some kind of equal experience of running sales.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't have it, then they might say, okay, well, maybe we want 15% down.
Oh,
right?
You're a little bit more risk,
you
would say.
Right. And so they're looking at those, and the bank is then also looking at the cash flow of the property, and then sometimes they may move into because SBA has two different type of loans, 504 and 7A.
Okay.
504 is a fixed 25-year term.
Yeah.
And then it's a fixed rate.
Okay.
There's no prepayment penalties.
Yeah.
Right, and there's no balloon payments due.
Okay.
You go to 7A. 7A have different variations, but mainly they could have 15% down payment.
Yeah.
They could have prepayment penalties. The prepayment penalties could be like 5% in the first year, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Or a 3, 2, 1. Balloon payment due at the 5th year or the 7th year or the 10th year.
So either ਬਾਰੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ can you tell a little bit more like with the loans, right? Commercial loans. What's the common commercial loan? ਜੇ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ gas station ਲੈਣਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ gas station ਬਾਰੇ ਬਸ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਪੈਸਾ ਪਿਆ ਆ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਚਲੋ ਕੋਈ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ ਲਾਈਕ ਮੈਂ ਕੀ ਐਕਸਪੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਚਿਰ ਦਾ ਲੋਨ ਹੈ ਲਾਈਕ ਹੁਣ ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 30 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਹੈ ਮੋਸਟ ਰਾਈਟ 90% ਲੋਕੀ 30 ਸਾਲ ਐਮਰਟਾਈਜ਼ੇਸ਼ਨ
It's 25-year amortization.
Okay.
On SBA.
Okay.
If you go conventional, then it's 20.
Okay. What about like as far as rates and fixed rates and things like that?
Rates are usually prime plus point to point and a half.
So prime ki hunda?
So the prime rate that's issued by the Wall Street Journal, right? This is so let's say the bank borrows money for the government.
Okay.
Right? So that's one rate.
Hanji.
And then the bank is then issuing funds to the general public.
Yeah.
Then they want to add profit to it.
Yeah.
Right, which is usually a 2%, 2.5%, or depending on the day, the delta that they use.
Yeah.
That's the rate you get from the bank.
Okay.
And then SBA has another point to point and a half on top of that. That they charge.
So
and if you're using 7A, then they have another 2.5 to 3 points.
Wow.
So 7A is probably like 9.5, 10, 10.5.
So what's like the average typical rate right now that a buyer could expect? Ajkal ki chalda hai?
8, 8.5.
8.5%. In your experience, is that high, low, average?
We've done them in 10s, so.
Okay.
We've done them in 3s.
Yeah.
Right? So it's definitely higher than the 3s.
Yeah.
And then again, it's just all about numbers. When you're underwriting, are you making any money?
Yeah.
As long as you're making money, then people are paying 8%, 10%.
Well, yeah, I think it's the same thing, even in residential properties when investors are buying single family or multifamily. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਰੇਟ ਮਹਿੰਗਾ ਆ ਪਰ ਉਹ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਜੇ ਮੈਂ ਅੱਜ $1 ਸਪੈਂਡ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂ $1 ਸਪੈਂਡ ਕੀਤਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਨੂੰ $1 10 ਸੈਂਟ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ 10% ਰਿਟਰਨ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਰਾਈਟ ਦੇ ਡੋਂਟ ਕੇਅਰ ਰੇਟ 6 ਹੋਵੇ ਜਾਂ 8 ਹੋਵੇ ਜੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਰਿਟਰਨ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੈਵੀ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਰਸ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅਗਰੈਸਿਵ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਰਸ ਆ ਉਹ ਚੁੱਕ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ right?
Yeah.
So when you're working with like investors, usually first time investors ਜਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ already property ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਆ?
Mostly already property ਹੈਗੀਆਂ. Very few you get the first time.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ.
Like I have some people that only want to like buy the business. They don't want to buy the station yet because they don't have enough funds to buy the station.
Okay.
So they don't want to buy the building and the business. They only want to buy the business and lease it from the owner.
Yeah.
Right. So you then separate out the real estate from the business.
Yeah.
And then you just sell the business.
Okay.
Because the barrier to entry is like very low.
What do you mean? Like just for the price point?
Price point.
Just to buy the business?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say ਜੇ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੈਣਾ, ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਥੋੜੇ ਬਹੁਤੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਸੇਵ ਕੀਤੇ ਹੋ ਆ, ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਾਲ ਕੀਤੀ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗਾ ਸੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ
No, don't say that.
we'll cut that out. So I'm like so let's say ਮੈਂ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੈਣਾ, right? ਮੈਂ ਫਰਸਟ ਟਾਈਮ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੈਣਾ, ਮੈਂ ਦੇਖਦਾ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ 'ਚ ਸਕਸੈਸਫੁਲ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਓਨਰਸ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੋਟਲ ਆ, ਅਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਚਲੋ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਹੁਣ ਪਿਛਲੇ 10-15 ਸਾਲ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦਾ ਅਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੈਂਦੇ, ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਾਲ ਕਰਦਾ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਭਾਜੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੈਣਾ, ਵਾਟਸ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ, ਲਾਈਕ ਕਨਵਰਸੇਸ਼ਨ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ?
ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਕੋਈ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਓਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ?
ਨਹੀਂ, ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਨਹੀਂ।
ਹੋਰ ਕੋਈ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ?
ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਆਪਣਾ ਘਰ ਆ ਅਤੇ 2 ਰੈਂਟਲ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ, ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਕਮਰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਲਾਈਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਇਆ, ਸੁਣਿਆ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟ ਆ ਸਾਡਾ ਰਿਟਰਨ ਵਧੀਆ ਆਉਂਦਾ, ਤਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਲਈਏ।
ਠੀਕ ਹਾਂਜੀ। ਤੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਕਿਉਂ? ਹੋਟਲ ਜਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਚੀਜ਼ ਬਾਰੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੋਚਿਆ?
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਦਿਓ ਠੀਕ ਆ, ਪਰ ਐਂਡ ਆਫ ਦਾ ਡੇ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਬਸ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਆ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਡਾ ਮੇਨ ਗੋਲ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੈਸਾ ਇਨਵੈਸਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਅਤੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਰਿਟਰਨ ਆਵੇ।
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪ ਮੈਨੇਜ ਕਰਨਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਨੇਜਮੈਂਟ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਤੋਂ ਰਨ ਕਰਵਾਉਣਾ?
ਲੈਟਸ ਸੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਆਏ ਸੀ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਤੋਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ 'ਤੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ, ਸੋ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਇਨਵੈਂਟੋਰੀ ਬਾਰੇ, ਕਸਟਮਰ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੀ, ਉਹ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਪਤਾ ਆ, ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਕਮਰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀ ਲਈ ਨਹੀਂ।
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ। ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬਜਟ ਕਿੰਨਾ?
ਬਜਟ ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਵਧੀਆ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਸ ਦਾ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਮੇਬੀ $1-2 ਮਿਲੀਅਨ ਖਰਚ ਲਓਗੇ।
ਅਤੇ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਏਰੀਏ 'ਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ?
ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਕੈਂਟ 'ਚ, ਅਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਲਾਗੇ ਤਾਗੇ ਹੋਵੇ, ਕੈਂਟ ਹੋਵੇ, ਮੇਬੀ ਟਕੋਮਾ, ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੰਨੀ ਦੂਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ।
ਓਕੇ,
ਮਿਲ ਜੂਗਾ?
ਮਿਲ ਜੂਗਾ, ਬਟ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਝ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਹਾਲੇ? ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ, ਕੋਈ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇਖਿਆ?
ਨਹੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ।
ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੋਕਲ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਸਿੰਗ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੋਈ ਪਤਾ ਵੀ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਕੁ ਦਾ ਮਿਲਦਾ?
ਹਾਲੇ ਸਿੱਧੀ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਗੁਰੂ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ। ਓਕੇ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਬਸ ਮੇਰੇ ਫਰੈਂਡਾਂ ਨੇ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਲਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ, ਅਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਲੈਣਾ।
ਨਹੀਂ, that's good, you should, right? But with that budget, unfortunately, ਇੱਥੇ ਕੈਂਟ, ਰੈਂਟਨ, ਟਕੋਮਾ, it's gonna be very hard.
ਔਖਾ ਆ। 2 ਮਿਲੀਅਨ 'ਚ ਵੀ?
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
3?
No.
ਮਿਲਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ?
ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਟਸ ਆਲ ਬੇਸਡ ਔਨ ਸੇਲਸ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਪਰ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਇਨਕਮ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਿਊਸ ਕਰਦਾ ਉਹਦੀ ਵੈਲਿਊ ਉਹਦੇ ਬੇਸ 'ਤੇ ਬਣਦੀ ਹੈ।
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਅਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਤਾਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਸਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਹਾਈ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ, ਰਾਈਟ? ਸੋ if your budget is around 2 million, we can go to places like, Port Orchard, Bremerton,
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ।
we can go to places like Centralia, Chehalis, Shelton,
ਯਾਰ ਇੰਨੀ ਦੂਰ ਹੁਣ ਡਰਾਈਵ ਘੰਟਾ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਜਾਣ ਨੂੰ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ। ਸੋ ਇਟਸ ਗੁੱਡ। ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਪੁੱਛਦਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਥੀਸ ਆਰ ਥਿੰਗਸ ਦੈਟ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਜਦੋਂ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ, ਰਾਈਟ, ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਨੌਲੇਜ ਹੈ ਮੋਸਟ ਪੀਪਲ ਡੋਂਟ ਨੋ। ਮੋਸਟ ਲੋਕੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਬਸ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੋਕਲ ਏਰੀਆ 'ਚ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਵੇ, ਰਾਈਟ? ਪਰ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ 2 ਮਿਲੀਅਨ ਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਲਾਗੇ ਕਿਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਣਾ।
ਬੰਦ ਹੋਇਆ ਕੋਈ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਊਗਾ?
ਕੱਲੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀ ਹੈ,
ਖਾਲੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀ, environmental issues, good luck dealing with Plia and everybody else.
ਹਾਂਜੀ। ਸੋ what's like the going rate ਇੱਥੇ ਕਿੰਗ ਕਾਊਂਟੀ 'ਚ, ਜੇ ਮੇਬੀ ਸਾਊਥ ਕਿੰਗ ਕਾਊਂਟੀ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, like ਕੋਈ going rate ਹੈਗਾ, or is it just all based on
it's all based on numbers, all based on income, right? There's no going rate. Like you can have one across the street for like 5 million, and you can have across the street for like 3. Right? So I would say in probably King County, South King County, maybe not North. If the station is doing well, you are anywhere from 4 to 6 million.
Damn.
Yeah. If the station is doing decent, they're okay. You can probably get to the 3s.
Okay.
The 2s are the ones that are like really run down, and Maybe they have 2 pumps.
Yeah.
Some very small store. And they're barely doing any. Yeah, chota na. ਉਹਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਦੀ valuation ਬਣਨੀ.
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ. So basically, it sounds like just the entry point here, South King County ਵੱਲ, right? Can't Auburn ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਲੱਭ ਵੀ ਲਵੇ ਠੀਕ ਠਾਕ 3 to 4 million.
Yeah.
Maybe closer to 4.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So even with ਜੇ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ 10 ਜਾਂ 15% ਪਾਓ, you're spending $500,000 to more on
Yeah,
down
you are.
payment.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
So what do you feel first time ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰ ਲੈਣਾ ਉਹ ਤਿਆਰ ਹੈ ਇੰਨੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟ ਕਰਨ ਨੂੰ, or do they partner up?
They partner up. More likely you're going to partner up. But though we don't ikkathe ho jande, then it gets easier.
Yeah.
Or they're like, okay, you know what, we'll look outside the area and see what's available.
Yeah, so ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੁਣ mostly ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਵੀ ਆ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰ ਲੈਣਾ, let's talk about it, right? Maybe ਕੋਈ ਦੇਖਦਾ ਹੋਊਗਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੈਣਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਨੌਲੇਜ ਵੱਧ ਸਕਦੀ, ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਲਈ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਲਈ ਵੈਲਿਊ ਲਿਆ ਸਕਦੀ ਆ. What advice would you give them?
I would say that start figuring out what a profit and loss statement is. Start figuring out how they run. And then that way they'll give you more confidence when you're looking at it. ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਵੇ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਭਾਰੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੇ ਗੱਲ ਛੱਡਤੀ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹੋ ਉਦਾਂ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, and I'm like, well, ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ like once the sale's done ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਇੱਧਰ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਧਰ ਚੱਲ ਜਾਣਾ. You're gonna run the business.
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ
right?
Responsibility.
So the responsibility is yours. So I would want you to understand and underwrite the property. If I send you a P&L for a property, right? At least like ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਕੀ ਦੇਖਾਂ ਕੀ ਨਾ ਦੇਖਾਂ, ਕਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਐਡ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ, ਕਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਘਟਾਉਣੀਆਂ. Right? If you're looking at a P&L, if you see officer salary, that's going to come back to you. So you add that back to the bottom line if you buy it. Because then you're the officer.
You're the officer,
right?
Absolutely.
Right? If you have manager salaries, right? You're not going to keep the manager. You put that back into the bottom line. You have interest listed on there. You take that back and you put it back into the bottom line because you're going to pay the interest, but that's not your interest. Right? If you see a lot of maintenance and repair, and if the maintenance and repair is like too much, then you got to figure out, was this a one-time thing? Maybe you got a new roof. Maybe I don't know what you did. Why is this number so high? Your credit card fees. So you have to know, like, can I reduce these in a way or two, or are these going to be applicable to me when I buy the business?
So you got to learn about the system, the profits and losses, right?
P&L.
Talking about profit and losses, right? What are some of the struggles or mistakes that you see early commercial investors make, especially when they're getting into the gas station business, especially अपनी community ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ? And the reason मैं ये question पूछा करके कई टाइम मैं story सुनता हूँ, किसी ने कोई gas station लिया ਘੰਟਾ 2 ਘੰਟੇ ਦੂਰ, just like you said, I think local ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਜਾਂ local ਮਿਲਦਾ ਉਹਦੀ price ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਆ. So ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ gas station ਲਿਆ ਤੇ ਬਾਅਦ 'ਚ ਉਹ ਆਖੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਥੱਕ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਪੂਰਾ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ we can't do this. Like, why is that?
ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੋ, let's say your station is in Olympia.
Okay.
Right? It's a good hour drive from here.
ਹਾਂਜੀ. One hour there, 1 hour back.
2 ਘੰਟੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਦਿਹਾੜੀ ਚੋਂ ਗਏ.
ਹਾਂਜੀ.
ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ JBR ਨੂੰ traffic ਪੈ ਗਈ. Right? Good 20-30 minutes gone. Right? ਸਾਢੇ 3 ਘੰਟੇ ਨਿਕਲ ਗਏ. Now think about spending that time every day. Every day.
5 ਤੋਂ 6 ਦਿਨ ਕਿ 7 ਦਿਨ.
If you're doing it yourself, you're going there every day. Right?
ਜੇ operate ਕਰਨਾ ਫਿਰ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ, you're the business owner, you're going to go.
Right. So a lot of time I have a conversation with the people like, hey, so if you're going to operate yourself and it's far away, your goal should be that you eventually want to put a manager in place so you can get out of that store. Then you can go buy another store. So you have to go from operating the business, from working in the business to then working on the business.
Okay.
Right?
Because
otherwise you're just a slave to the business.
ਉਹੀ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ 9 to 5 job ਹੋ ਗਈ?
Yeah, 9 to 5 job ਹੋ ਗਈ. 7:30 ਸਵੇਰੇ ਨਿਕਲੇ ਆ, 7 ਵਜੇ ਫੇਰ ਘਰੇ ਬੜੇ ਆ, ਰੋਟੀ ਖਾ ਕੇ ਸੌਂ ਗਏ, ਸਵੇਰੇ ਨੂੰ ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਫੇਰ ਉੱਥੇ ਚਲ ਗਏ. And then that's on repeat. ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ ਛੁੱਟੀ ਹੋ ਗਈ, ਫੇਰ ਹਮ ਜਾਣਾ ਪੈਣਾ.
ਕੋਈ employee
ਨਹੀਂ ਆਇਆ, ਕੁਛ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ. And then so you're tied to it.
So ਲੋਕੀ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਥੱਕ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ?
I think the travel first gets you. And then the businesses have their nuances, right? And the daily, day-to-day things that every business has. They also tire you out. right? So eventually you're like, all right, oil ਦਾ ਵੀ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਗੈਸ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਸੋਚੀ।
ਕੀ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦੀ?
ਗੈਸ।
ਓਕੇ।
ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕੈਂਟ 'ਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ,
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਬੜੀਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਕਿ ਰੈਂਟ 'ਚ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਜਾਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ,
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਹਨਾ। ਹੁਣ ਉਹੀ ਗੱਡੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਣੀ,
ਯਾ,
ਉਹ ਦੂਏ ਤੀਏ ਦਿਨ ਫੇਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਟੈਂਕੀ ਭਰਾਉਣੀ ਪੈਣੀ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਰਾਈਟ।
ਯਾ।
ਸੋ ਬੰਦਾ ਫਿਰ ਸੋਚਣ ਲੱਗ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਨਾ ਬਈ what's going on?
Yeah.
You get tired very quickly. 5-6 months, day in, day out, you're going to get tired.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So that's like one of the things that I try to tell people, like, yeah, if you're buying it far away, that's great, but then your goal should be to like go there as less as possible.
Yeah.
That means you got to pay a good employee a little more.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
To keep them excited.
Absolutely.
So they're there, right? And then you're back here.
Yeah.
And that's how you then build one, and then you build another one, and then you build another one. Like,
Yeah.
I have clients who have anywhere from 10 to 100 stores.
Oh, wow.
Right? So how, it started at one place.
Sounds like, it's it's a lot more work
It is a lot more
than
work.
what it sounds like from this other GD conversation, friend circle ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ.
Yeah.
Right, the time. People don't think about the time.
No.
I think they look at more of like, oh, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਹੁਣ gas station ਲੈ ਲਿਆ, ਵਧੀਆ। Right, ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਹੁਣ ਰੋਜ਼ ਹੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਵੀ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ owner operator ਆ. Right?
Yeah.
So ਘੰਟਾ, ਡੇਢ ਘੰਟੇ ਦੀ drive ਆ. I mean, I can only imagine going to Bremerton every day.
Yeah.
Especially if you live out here.
Yeah.
ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਉੱਥੇ move ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, different ਗੱਲ ਹੈ.
ਵੱਖਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਉਹ then it's a different story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But then you got to think, ਜੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਇਦਾਂ ਦਾ family member ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, they help out.
Yeah.
Right? ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਤੂੰ ਚਲ ਗਿਆ, ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਮੈਂ ਚਲ ਗਿਆ, different
Yeah.
story, ਹੈ ਨਾ? But the end goal should be like, okay, how do I get out of it?
Yeah. So ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਆ future ਕੀ ਹੈ gas station ਦਾ? ਕਰਕੇ ਜੋ ਮੈਂ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ electric vehicle ਤੇ ਹੋਣਾ ਆ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੀ ਫਰਕ ਪਊਗਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੈਸ ਤੇ ਪੰਪਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ?
I don't. It's gonna come, but I think the potential opportunity for the owners are to start putting electric charging stations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gas station.
Yeah, on the gas station.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
Right.
Yeah.
So you put 2 or 3 maybe, right, and then ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਗੱਡੀ ਚਾਰਜ ਕਰਨੀ।
Yeah.
ਅਗਲਾ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਚਲ ਮੈਂ ਸਟੋਰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਕੁਝ ਲੈ ਜਾਣਾ।
Yeah.
Get a Snickers bar, get an energy drink, get a coffee,
Yeah.
and if you have hot food, in your station, they'll probably come in for that.
Yeah, yeah.
So now you're multiplying your sales,
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
right? Because your inside sales margins are better.
Yeah.
You make more money on the inside. ਅਗਲਾ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ, 2-3 ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦਾ ਲਊਗਾ ਹੀ,
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ।
right?
Yeah.
So those are the things I think we need to start thinking about, is like maybe start adding 2 or 3 stations.
Yeah.
ਕਿਉਂਕਿ 20 ਮਿੰਟ ਤੋਂ ਅੱਧਾ ਘੰਟਾ ਜਾਂ 15 ਮਿੰਟ ਤਾਂ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਆ ਗੱਡੀ ਚਾਰਜ ਕਰਨ।
ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ।
ਹਨਾ?
Yeah.
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਚਿਰ ਬੰਦਾ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਅੰਦਰ ਜਾਣਾ, ਘੁੰਮੇ ਆਉਣਾ, ਦੇਖੇ ਆਉਣਾ ਕੁਝ।
ਮੈਂ ਗਿਲਟੀ ਹਾਂ।
Right.
ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਗੈਸ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਚਲੋ ਫਿਰ ਕੋਈ ਐਨਰਜੀ ਡਰਿੰਕ
ਯਾ ਕੁਛ ਨਾ ਕੁਛ ਹੈਗਾ ਹੀ ਆ। ਹਨਾ?
ਐਨਰਜੀ ਡਰਿੰਕ ਚੁੱਕੀ ਤਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੀਨ ਬਾਰ ਦੇ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ।
Yeah.
ਪ੍ਰੋਟੀਨ ਬਾਰ ਵੀ ਲਈ ਆ।
ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਨਰਜੀ ਡਰਿੰਕ ਲੈਣ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਅਗਲੇ ਫਿਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ $5.99 for 2.
1 for 2.
You don't need 2. You don't need 2 of them, but you're like, ਯਾਰ 2 ਚੱਕ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ, ਕੋਈ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੇਲੇ ਲੋੜ ਪੈ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। You know what I mean?
ਅਸੀਂ ਫਿਰ
36 ਕੈਨ ਘਰੇ ਪਏ ਫ੍ਰਿਜ ਵਿੱਚ।
ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਯਾਰ ਡੀਲ ਆ। 2 ਲੈ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ। So that's a good point. So you think ਹੋਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ gas station owners ਆ ਹੁਣ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ implement ਕਰਦੇ ਆ?
No, I mean, the conversations are going around,
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
but I don't think they are like at a point where they are implementing it.
How much do you believe in that statement of they should implement?
I believe a lot, because here's the thing: I don't think you're going to get rid of the gas cars completely.
Okay.
It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
I went to Vancouver last week.
Okay.
To check out 3 different stations.
Okay.
Vancouver, Washington.
Washington. Okay.
Right.
Hanji.
So it was like, what, a 2.5 hour drive one way.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
I took my truck. I went down there. All 3 of them. Chatted with one of the owners for 20-30 minutes. Chatted with the other owner for an hour.
Yeah.
Went and had lunch. And came back. I left my house at 9:30. I was back by 5.
Yeah. Full day.
Full day, right?
Hanji.
Now I'm working at a gas point.
Yeah.
Now try that with an electric car.
I know.
I'm not saying they're not going to get better. They are going to get better. But if we talk about the next like 3 to 5 years, they're not going to get that better.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And if they do get better, then how much does it going to cost for me to go and buy one of those?
Yeah.
Right?
Chargers?
The chargers.
Okay.
Right? So if you look at our employers in the area, you got Starbucks,
Yeah.
right? You got Costco, you got Boeing, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people are living in Puyallup, Sumner area, and they're traveling every day
Hanji.
to those places.
Yeah.
Right? So how many of those do you think you're going to turn into electric cars?
Yeah.
Right. So the opportunities, I think, definitely there.
Yeah.
I think people should start implementing those things.
Yeah.
Sooner than later.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure they'll see the benefits.
Yeah. I think what I've seen those electric vehicle chargers popping up everywhere.
Oh yeah.
At some random places.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wow, they have one here. Mm-hmm. And it's usually.
And then if you have a supercharger.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking for those. Like supercharger get taken.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not familiar what they charge or anything like that, but
I don't have one.
Yeah.
But I know that's the case.
So ਦੇਖ ਲਓ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਜੇ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਹ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ ਸੋਚਣ ਲੱਪੋ ਫਿਊਚਰ ਬਾਰੇ electric vehicle chargers if that's something
Yeah.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਗੈਸ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਲਾਉਣਾ ਆ ਕਰਕੇ I think the future like you said I don't think gas is going to completely go away but they're pushing more green.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of like buying Bitcoin 5 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. And then I don't want to like get political here, but then it'll also depend on which party is coming, because one is on the other side of the other, right? And they're like, "Oh, we're gonna put this in place," and the other party is like, "We're gonna cancel everything,"
ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫਿਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਛੇੜ ਲਈ ਪੋਲੀਟੀਕਲ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਵਾਲੀ
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੋਲੂ ਉਹੀ ਕੁੜਾ ਬੋਲੂ ਨਾ.
So what do you think? What impact will Trump have in the commercial real estate sector?
Then again, it's just those tariffs, right? It really depends because if you think about it, he's using that as a negotiation tactic, right?
Okay.
His goal is to bring those guys to the table, and have a conversation.
Yeah.
How we're going to get this better, right? So he might even put some tariffs on temporarily.
Yeah.
To get them like, okay, he's really serious.
Yeah.
Like we really need to go talk to him.
Yeah.
Right. So I think he's using those tactics to negotiations, which is great. I think those are great tactics, right?
Yeah.
Because if somebody's not listening, you got to figure out, okay, how I'm going to get this guy to come.
Yeah.
To talk about it, right?
Absolutely.
So they're saying, oh, we'll come through different channels. We'll come through Canada. We'll come through Mexico. He's also raising tariffs on those sides too.
Both sides.
So he's like, well, come at me in any way you want. We're going to up it.
Yeah.
Right. But then he's also giving them incentives to come into the country and invest in the country.
Yeah.
And then, he's not going to raise the tariffs.
Absolutely.
Right. And then he's also giving incentives. He's also like saying that we're going to get rid of some redlining for you. Right. And then we're going to make sure that everything is fast tracked.
Yeah.
So if you're investing in here. So I think those tariffs will play a role because it's all, the rates are, in correlation with the inflation.
Yeah.
If we're not curbing the inflation, you can't curb the rates.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So as the inflation is going down, the rates will come down. But if it keeps rising, then
they're going to stay high.
It's going to stay high. Okay. Right? So that's why you see this last time they didn't raise it.
They didn't do much.
And a lot of economists are saying they shouldn't have raised it the last time. They should have dropped it last time.
Yeah.
Right? Even though they did a quarter point.
Absolutely.
So remember they were saying last year, oh, we're going to slash rate next year. Now they're saying we're probably not thinking of not doing it.
They went from the last meeting, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ 4 ਵਾਰੀ rate ਘਟਾਉਣੇ 2025 ਵਿੱਚ in December meeting they said 2 times.
Now
we'll find out.
Well, yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah. Nobody has a crystal ball, right?
Yeah.
Nobody knows what it's going to happen. So I think coming back to the rates, if you're really getting into a situation where you're going to get a balloon payment in the next 3, 5, or 7 years, then I would say underwrite it accordingly.
Okay.
Where is your business going to be in the next 3, 5, or 7 years?
Yeah.
And if you have to refi, let's say the rates are still the same or they jumped up by 1% or 2, how's your business going to perform?
Yeah.
Are you going to be okay?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Are you getting just IO interest-only loans?
Yeah.
Because there's some loans out there you can get IO for 2 years.
Yeah.
The first 2 years, and so that means your principal is still standing.
Yeah, interesting.
You have IO, and the next 2 or 3 years is when you're paying. You're paying a little bit of principal, and before you know it, your balloon is gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So all these commercial loans that were done, 4 or 5 years ago at 3%.
Yeah.
The one that especially have the balloon payments, they're coming due.
They're coming due. Yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunity coming to the market because a lot of those properties you're not going to be able to underwrite it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yes. Depending on what price point you bought it at, what rate did you get?
Yeah.
And then how the market is doing.
Yeah, so if you can't refinance, you're probably selling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or the bank's taking it back.
Yeah. So I know we spoke about gas stations, coffee gal ho gaye gas station wale.
Right.
Do you do any other trucka wale? Let's talk about a little bit about trucking. I know our community trucking de vich truck yards. This is a hot topic. Both loki ਕਾਲ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਆ ਭਾਜੀ ਟਰੱਕ ਯਾਰਡ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੈਂਟ ਆਵਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ what is your thought?
The problem is, right, and ਮੈਨੂੰ 5-6 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਇਹੀ ਕਾਲਾਂ ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ
ਹਾਂ
ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹੀ ਸਲਾਹ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਲੈਂਡ ਹੈਗੀ raw land available. It's in the zoning. I will take you through permitting. Right? You get it permitted. And then you're done. ਨਹੀਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਕੋਈ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬਣੀ ਉਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਦਿਓ. Right? ਇੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਉਹਨੇ ਅਗਲੇ 4-5 ਸਾਲ ਇਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਹੀ ਜਾਣੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਸਾਂ ਵਧੀ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੁਣ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ 3-4 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਲੈ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ it should be ready by now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just don't get the mindset.
I think ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ discuss ਕਰੀਏ if I give my take ਕਾਫੀ ਜਣਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ calls ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ right whether they're buying a house or ਕੋਈ rental property investment property even trucking yard right or a lot. I think most ਲੋਕੀ ਸੋਚਦੇ it needs to be up to my par now. Like ready ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਇਸ property ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੁਣ ਹੋਵੇ. Especially on truck yard ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ like bro.
Pre-COVID, right? I shown some properties. Fully fenced, right? Fully paved out. Zoned for doing truck parking.
Okay.
ਉਦੋਂ ਉਹ ਪੈਸੇ ਦੇਣ ਨੂੰ ਰਾਜੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਪੈਸੇ
Yeah.
raw land ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਟਾਈਮ ਲੱਗਣਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਹੋਣੀ ਹੈ right so then you're still leasing for the next 2 or 3 years you know what I mean you're paying like 20 30 40 grand a month
absolutely
right so they're going to keep paying that for the next 3 to 5 years but they're not going to invest in buying a lot that you can get through permitting
absolutely
and then in the next 2 to 3 years instead of paying 40 grand a month to a lot you have your own yard
So let's talk about the permitting. ਹੁਣ ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਕੋਈ ਖਾਲੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀ ਲੱਭੀ ਆ ਉਹਦੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ zoning ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ can that be changed through applying or the city or the county changes it
no so zoning and permitting are two different things right? so zoning is what they're telling you what is permitted on the property
ਤੇ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ
ਕੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਹੁਣ ਜੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫਿਰ ਪਰਮਿਟ ਲੈਣਾ
ਸਮਝ ਗਿਆ
right because if you look at a property it could be like heavy industrial use right
ਹਾਂਜੀ
you they can ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ gas station ਖੋਲ ਲਓ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਟਰੱਕ ਪਾਰਕ ਕਰ ਲਓ ਕੰਟਰੈਕਟਰ ਯਾਰਡ ਬਣਾ ਲਓ ਸਕ੍ਰੈਪ ਮੈਟਲ ਯਾਰਡ ਬਣਾ ਲਓ ਕਾਰ ਲਾਟ ਬਣਾ ਲਓ ਕੁਝ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਬਣਾ ਲਓ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਪਰ ਹੁਣ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਾਰ ਲਾਟ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ then you have to go file a permit for that right so once it's done you're great ਪਰ ਹੁਣ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹ ਬਣੀ ਬਣਾਈ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੈਣੀ ਆ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੇ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰਨਾ then you have a change of use then you apply for a change of use permit is it still allowed in that zoning if it's still allowed in the zoning you can still get it but you have to go through a change of use permit ਉਦੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨੇ ਕੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ but now the codes have changed the building codes have changed from 5 years ago or 10 years ago right you can still do it but now these are the requirements you have to follow ਸੜਕ ਚੌੜੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਬਿਲਡਿੰਗ ਅਪ ਟੂ ਡੇਟ ਕਰਨੀ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਕਰਨਾ so that's what it is so people need to understand those things like those things are different and then you have a conditional use permit basically what the city or the county is saying that these are the allowable uses that we allow but with the conditional permit you can also have these uses right so that now you have to get a conditional use permit which basically means that you apply for this special permit and it's depending on the city or the county it's a 6 to 9 month period that they take to do it you present it the city council or the county looks into it they'll put a sign up on the property that is going through a re-permitting process if somebody has an objection to it they can come talk to us these are the dates if nobody objects to it then they finally sign off on it and that permit is okay as long as the use stays the same once you change the use and if in the new zoning that conditional use permit is not applicable anymore it's done right so it's as long as you continue the use you can sell the property to somebody who wants to keep the use the same
makes sense
but as soon as you change it if it's not in the zoning that permit is gone
that makes sense
right
so is there any ਐਸਪੀਲੀ ਕੋਈ ਓਪਰਚੁਨਿਟੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਟਰੱਕ ਯਾਰਡ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਕਿੰਗ ਕਾਉਂਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ
ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਪਰ ਲੈਣੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ
ਕਾਤੇ
ਉਹੀ ਬੜੀ ਤਿਆਰ ਚੀਜ਼ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ Or main tayar karke deni hai.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to say that, but
Yeah.
it's just like I'm giving you an opportunity.
Yeah.
That either 2 years later you're going to call me and to ask me the same thing that you called and asked me 2-3 years ago.
But you know, ਜਿਹੜੇ aggressive investors ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ,
Yeah.
ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀਤਾ ਕੰਮ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ,
Yeah.
ਉਹ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ, ਉਹ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਅਗਲੇ 2-5 ਸਾਲ ਦਾ.
Right.
They're always thinking ahead.
Right.
So they're looking at like, okay, ਜੀ ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਆਹ ਲੈ ਲਿਆ ਅਗਲੇ 2-3 ਸਾਲ, ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਦਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਠੀਕ ਕਰਾ ਕੇ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਫਿਟ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਲਈ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਮਹਿੰਗਾ ਵੇਚ ਸਕਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰਟੀ ਨੂੰ.
Yeah, the property is going to. Problem now is like people are thinking they don't ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਚ ਸੀਗਾ ਭਈ ਲੈ ਲਈ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰਟੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਟਰੱਕ ਵੀ ਲਾ ਲਏ ਤੇ ਉਧਰੋਂ ਵੀ ਕਰਾਇਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਰੇਟ ਵੀ ਉਹਦਾ ਵਧੀਆ ਸੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰਟੀ ਦਾ ਰੇਟ ਵੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦਾ and you're cash flowing.
Yeah.
Not today, you're not.
Yeah.
Right? Or all land like in the Puyallup area for industrial use is about $1 million an acre.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Right?
basically, you know, ਹੁਣ ਜੇ ਬੰਦਾ $1 million ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰਟੀ ਨਹੀਂ 2 ਲੱਖ, let's say 20% down.
Right.
Right, ਤੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਚ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ, ਕਿਸ਼ਤਾਂ ਭਰੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ.
But the thing is like so depending on what kind of loan structure again you get, because now we're going from something that's already income producing property, already has a structure on it, to a raw land.
Yeah.
So now they changed. Okay, now you want to buy a raw land.
Yeah.
So now the entire loan structure changes.
Sure.
Right now they're like, okay, sure, it's maybe 15 to 20% now.
Maybe more.
Right. If you go conventional, 30, 35, 40, right? And then if you buy with SBA, they're not going to close on it until you have permit approval. So you are under feasibility during that time, which means you have to spend the money.
Yeah.
Right? You have to spend money on a survey,
Yeah.
a geotech survey,
Yeah.
right? You know, and then it list just goes on and on and on, right?
Yeah.
The engineer's going to ask you for money,
Yeah.
right? City permit fee, right? And if there's wetlands in the back,
Yeah.
then you got to do a wetland study. The biologist is going to charge money.
Yeah.
So not only you need to have cash to put down, but you have to have cash to invest
Yeah.
in the feasibility study,
Bilkul.
right?
Yeah.
So I think people probably get scared of.
It's a large investment.
It is a large investment, but my thought process is this: would you rather spend $2 million and buy a property than realize it's not the use that you want it to be, or would you spend anywhere from $5 to $10 grand to figure out if this is exactly what you can do on the property?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. I'll spend $5-10 grand all day long.
Well, yeah. I think if you think about the bigger picture, you know, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to take a little bit of investment, and at the end of the day, when you're investing or you're buying, there's always risk to everything.
Oh yeah.
And then there's always the contingencies in place, and sometimes it doesn't work out. But at least you protect yourself by spending $5,000 and saved $2 million.
Right.
Versus buying something that you go in there blindly, thinking like, okay, I'm going to continue doing this, and then, hey, here's a notice on your property.
Yeah.
Your use is shut down.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Because nobody looked into it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe somebody went to a discount broker. No, I'm just that.
I think like I can tell there's a lot of knowledge that you have that can be really valuable to a lot of community, any community members. Right. And I think we need that awareness, right? Because I've seen, heard through friends, through family, people going in and blindly trusting people, agents, brokers, whoever, private sellers, you know, and just buying it just because
somebody said so.
Yeah.
Somebody said, you know.
Badhiya property.
Badhiya property.
Gas station.
And I always tell people, like, don't take my word for it. Do your own underwriting. Right? I would rather not sell you anything than sell you something that 6 months later you wake up and say, I'd rather not do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Right? I want you to succeed.
Sure.
You're getting something, I want you to succeed. And then you know, then you go forward. And then, you know, I may not do as many sales, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah. But then once those clients that you help succeed,
they call you back.
They call you back.
I mean, you know, Cynthia is a great example.
Yeah.
I have not, ever since we sold it, I have never called her.
Yeah.
Every now and then, if I think about her, I send her a message.
Yeah.
But when she needed something, she called me.
Absolutely.
Right.
Long term. Right. Some people think today and now, make the deal, get the money, get out. Some people think like, hey, if I take care of this person, you know, this is a client for the rest of my life.
Right.
You know, same thing. Residential properties. I mean, shit. Same thing in any business. When you get good service, you're going to go back to that business all the time. When they take care of you, the owner takes care of you, whatever business it is, whether you're buying shoes or you have a favorite coffee spot.
And you tell everybody about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Kelly's Latte. Shout out Kelly's Latte.
I haven't been there yet.
Kelly's Latte.
But, there's a coffee place right across from my office.
Yeah.
They're really. I think they're really good. I haven't been to Kelly's, but everybody I'm like, you have to go there and try their coffee. This coffee, that coffee.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up. Maybe with a couple more things.
Sure.
So we'll get out of the professional life.
Right.
What do you do besides when you're not working?
Work out.
Okay, that's
Eat,
good.
Right?
Staying healthy.
Yeah.
I see you're eating good.
Yeah.
That's good.
You have to, man. You got to keep this brain working all day long. You have to feed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that's what I do. I love cooking.
Yeah.
So I cook a lot.
I see your posts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then I like to go wheeling.
What?
Wheeling.
Like off-roading?
Yeah, off-roading.
Okay. I've never heard wheeling, so I learned today.
Gora they want to get. So yeah, right. So they call
off-road is Gora.
Yeah, it is, right? So, but that's the funny thing is I have never seen a brown guy up on a mountain.
Yeah.
In a Jeep.
Why off-roading ਚੱਲਿਆ ਸੀ this weekend? Oh, on the
No, they can't even like I've gone like all the way down to California. I've gone to Utah.
Yeah. ਉੱਤੇ ਪਹਾੜਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਜੀਪ ਚਲਾਉਣੀ?
Yeah, so you try to, there's obstacles there.
Yeah.
So in real life, you're trying to crawl on that rock. You're trying to see if you're going to make it to the top.
Yeah.
And then we do it in the snow too.
So real life kid games in the near any other good
Bus, yeah. It's expensive hobby. But
yeah.
So I like to do this with my kid now. He really enjoyed it. Last year he actually went with me to camping. We went to California.
Yeah.
So we camped for 4 days up on a mountain.
Okay.
So I like because there's no cell service. So you're disconnected from everything.
Yeah.
There's no screen. So all you're doing is you have your book.
Absolutely.
You can read. You can go for a walk.
Yeah.
Or you're wheeling all day.
Okay.
That's all you're doing.
Well, it sounds like you got some good expensive hobbies.
Yeah. It's just, last year was a little expensive.
That's good. I think time away sometimes takes from the professional life to do something. It kind of recharges you in a way. At least it does for me sometimes. I know it's hard. I mean, my wife's watching, but sometimes to be answering calls late at night. But sometimes I choose not to.
Right.
Sometimes like, you know what? I know this person. I'm gonna take their call.
Right.
But anything else you think that might be valuable for any listener, whether it's about commercial real estate, even residential, any thoughts for anyone that's watching?
No, just do your homework. Just do your homework. Don't just rely on somebody telling you something.
Yeah.
Right? Because then that's not going to lead you to the path you want to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So even I buy off-market properties, right?
Yeah.
I flip them and do all that stuff. The wholesalers can tell me their numbers all day long.
Wholesalers.
Right?
Yeah.
ARV's up to 50, and get it, right?
Yeah.
The comp is like 2-3 miles out.
Yeah.
So just do your own homework.
Yeah.
It's really important. One, it's a skill, right? So once you start doing your own stuff, you're able to call out the bullshit that you see, online. I mean, I got people asking me they're like, oh, I want to sell my station and I only do this much and I want to, sell for this much. And I'm like, good luck.
Yeah.
I'll still send it out, but I don't think I'm going to get anything back.
Absolutely.
And then, people who are in the market are like, well, this guy's crazy. Like, why is he asking for so much?
Yeah.
Because they have done the homework. They know how it works.
Absolutely.
Right? So just get into it and then do your homework. Figure out what a P&L is if you don't know.
Yeah.
Sit down with your CPA.
Yeah. I'm gonna say something, a personal story real quick on do your homework. एक मैं video post की थी on TikTok, right? And I remember this because it was about down payment, right?
Right.
Different options for down payment. And मैं क्या सी at the end of the day ਜਿਹੜੀ down payment है ਉਹ depend ਕਰਦਾ ਹਰੇਕ person ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਉਹ ਕੀ comfortable ਦੇ ਆ, right? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਬੈਂਕ ਦੇਖਣੀ, ਆਪਣੀ ਜੇਬ ਦੇਖਣੀ, right? Whether you can put 5%, ਕਈ ਜਾਣੇ 20% ਵੀ ਦੇ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ, ਉਹ comfortable ਹੈ, ਕਈਆਂ ਤੋਂ 20 ਤਾਂ ਹੈ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ, ਸੋ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਚਲੋ ਅਸੀਂ 5 ਜਾਂ 10 ਦੇ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਤੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਮੈਂ ਇਹੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ you know you have to decide you have to look at your numbers your finances ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ comfortable ਹੋ ਤੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ comment ਛੱਡੀ he's like then why do we hire you for so I was like that's the type of person that gets screwed over in the deals because he's just like hey I hired a realtor ਤੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਚ ਉਹ complain ਕਰਦੇ ਆ
ਉਹੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ like I'll tell you a story like really quick
let's do it I like stories
I had this guy he wanted to buy like properties and so on and so forth, right? And then he wants to sell his stuff. And then I think I tried to work with him for a good 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
Then he finally called me. He's like, hey, I have this property I want to sell, but how much do you charge? Right out the gate.
Yeah.
So I told him how much I charge. He's like, ਤੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਯਾਰ ਮਹਿੰਗਾ ਹੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੈ
Yeah.
ਹਨਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਬੰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ 1% ਚਾਰਜ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਨਾ
Yeah.
So I was like, well, maybe ask him again. He'll do it for half.
Yeah.
Save another 0.5%.
Yeah.
ਹਨਾ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਲੈ ਥੱਲੇ ਨੂੰ
Yeah.
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇੱਕ ਤੇ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਉਹ ਰਹਿ ਗਿਆ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਹਨਾ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
So ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਗਈ then he called me like 4 or 5 months later he's like oh ਮੈਂ property ਵੇਚਦੀ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਵਧਾਈਆਂ ਹੋ ਗਈਆਂ ਹਨਾ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੁਣ 1031 ਕਰਨਾ ਮੈਂ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਕਿਹਾ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਕੋਈ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਨਹੀਂ
Yeah.
ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਐਕਸਚੇਂਜ ਫੈਸਿਲਿਟੇਟਰ ਕੌਣ ਆ
Yeah.
ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਣੇ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀ ਵੇਚ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਆ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਖਾਤੇ 'ਚ ਪਏ ਆ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ
Yeah.
and I'm like uncle ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ I can't help you
Yeah.
ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿਉਂ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ oh you need to have a facilitator involved
ਹਾਂਜੀ
the money goes into escrow
Yeah.
the money sits there
Yeah.
and you have a certain amount of time to
To
find your exchange and do all that kind of stuff right ਫਿਰ ਤਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਵਾਲ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ
Yeah.
and I'm like call your guy
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
that's what the broker is there for
Yeah.
right another quick story was that we recently sold a property and these guys bought it directly from the seller did a seller carry
Yeah.
didn't have a broker involved
Yeah.
the lawyer drafted the paperwork
Yeah.
good stuff right now they're selling it when they're selling it somebody came and did an inspection
Yeah.
they found out some things that you would have found out
Yeah.
if you had a broker involved and you would have gotten an inspection
Yeah.
right now they had to discount
The problem.
price
Yeah.
just because what they found out
Yeah. Yeah.
right because the lawyer only knows what the lawyer knows
Absolutely.
right
He's not a broker.
he's not a broker
Yeah.
broker only knows what the broker knows
And he's
not a lawyer
Yeah.
right everybody has a place in life
Yeah.
right so I would say that just just spend the money
Yeah.
right it's just like it's worth it
Yeah.
unless like you've been in the market for so long you've bought and sold so many properties
Yeah.
you already know what to do
Sure.
all well and fine
Go.
but the broker's on it on a day-to-day basis
Yeah.
right if you're in it from a day-to-day basis you ought to know your knowledge is a little higher than your average Joe
Absolutely.
right
Haji.
because it's a skill it's the experience that you've acquired over time
Yeah.
right and same thing with a lawyer anything that you do
Yeah.
right so it's worth spending the money I mean, I'll give CJ an example, right?
Yeah.
I want to get something done. He gives me a price I never negotiate with.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah. Get it
rather
done.
than bill bhi pehle bhi dao,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right? So, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Because he knows what he's doing,
Yeah.
right? And then he's saving you from something that you can't do it yourself.
Absolutely.
Same thing with the CPA.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think sometimes people just have to, not sometimes, but most of the time, including myself, sometimes we have to learn on our own.
Yeah. Yeah. I think those are the
But
best
I think I've had
experiences.
enough of that. But,
Yeah.
But you have to go through that experience, Like I said, most people do. Been there, done that. But you learn, and then you don't make that same mistake again.
Right.
But people, sometimes they make it over and over and over. Just because, like I said, they're trying to
Right.
save as much.
Right. And then that guy eventually like bought something with me, right? I'm continuing the story. And he had forgotten that I'd helped him to buy it.
Yeah.
So I went to give him the documents.
Yeah.
And then he's like, let me show you something. He's showing me pictures of the property I just helped him buy. ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਵਧੀਆ ਚੀਜ਼ ਲਈ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਹਾਂਜੀ I was like dude what's wrong with this dude and then he called me after that I just sent him the voice and I'm like I can't work with that guy
No.
but oh man
Thank you for coming on here. I appreciate you taking your time. Any questions for me?
No, thank you for having me here. I think it was nice too. I don't like a lot of people don't know about me.
Yeah.
The only time they know about me is when I call them,
Yeah.
right? Because I've been here for I don't know 17, 18 years.
Yeah.
And then we're like, "तो भाई कਦੋਂ आए?" ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਦੇ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ right and I go to work, I come back home and then I do my thing and I go back to work and that's all I do.
ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਹੁਣ ਇਸ
thank you.
ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਰੀਅਲ ਸਟੇਟ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਤੇ ਆ ਗਏ ਆ
Yeah.
ਹੁਣ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਐਕਸਪੋਜ਼ਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਧਾਉਣੀ ਆ
Yeah.
ਰਾਈਟ ਸੋ
No, I
ਜੇ
like
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਕਮਰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀ ਲੈਣੀ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਕੋਈ ਵਧੀਆ ਬ੍ਰੋਕਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਵੇ ਜਿਹ ਤੋਂ ਨੌਲੇਜ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਜਿਹਨੇ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਪੇਪਰ ਭਰ ਕੇ ਦੌੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਟੈਪ ਬਾਈ ਸਟੈਪ ਗਾਈਡ ਕਰਨਾ ਆਹ ਦੇ ਵੱਡਾ
Thank you.
ਨਾਲ ਬੈਠਾ
Thank you.